The Rings of Fate Scene 8. There was still hope of thwarting Susie. She couldn't be with me during school time. That's when I can show Mother that I'm not who she thinks I am. A wave of utter relief washed over me. There was still a chance I might be saved from my awful fate. Susie's grin left her face and turned to disappointment, as Dad's shoulders slumped at his mistake. Suddenly he smiled and threw his shoulders back. "Fooled you," he laughed. "Of course I've got them. They're safe and sound in my briefcase," he told her, patting his black leather attaché case. "Oh no," I wailed. Susie burst out laughing. "Great joke, Dad," he said. "Please don't take them away. I don't want to be a baby for the rest of my life," I screamed. "It's a pity they've got to go back. They were kind of fun," Mother grinned. "Yes, they were rather interesting," he returned her smile. "But unfortunately we will never see them again." "No. No, no. Please don't leave me like this," I yelled. People turned to see me screaming my baby talk. I looked at Susie, whose eyes had never left mine. "Please, Susie, don't let this happen," I screamed at her, writhing at my reins trying to get free, cursing their ability to hold me fast in the buggy no matter how much effort I put in to break them. Susie had a fixed smile on her face, her eyes shone with triumph. "Well, next time bring a magic lamp home, then I can wish for Susie to stop crying," Mother sighed, looking down at the torrents of tears running down my face. "She seems to be worse," Dad commented. "I hope the doctor can sort her out," he said prior to kissing Mum. "I'm putting her into the nursery tomorrow. She may cheer up when she gets kids nearer her own age to play with," Mother told him. "Off you go now. You don't want to miss your plane." He kissed her again, bent down and looked at me. "It's me, Dad, David. Please, you have got to recognize me," I blubbed. "By Cupcake," he said softly, kissing me on the cheek. "No, Dad, no, don't go. I am a boy. I want my life back. I don't want to be Susie." I was frantic as he turned and walked through passport control almost in slow motion. I was watching all hope of ever returning to my former life as a 16-year-old boy disappear into the transit lounge. He turned and waved as the stewardess checked his boarding pass and passport. Mother and Susie waved back. I threw the most terrible fit as a huge wave of nausea caused through abject fear of being Susie for the rest of my life racked my little body. Then he slowly turned, unwittingly taking my former life with him, and I lost sight of him as another passenger blocked my view. That was it. I was a baby for the rest of my life, and just to confirm it, I threw up and soiled my nappy at the same time. "Oh, Susie," Mother cried, catching my vomit in my dress. I shook my head and cried bitterly. Susie had won. She was me now. I was her, a handicapped little girl with the body of a baby who would never grow up. I felt my reins and dress being removed. "Look after her, David, while I sort her dress out," Mother ordered, leaving me wearing just my petticoats. She bent down so our eyes were level. Her smile was wide as a mile. "Now there's no going back for either of us, David," she gloated. "I'm really looking forward to a full life as a boy. I hope you feel the same way about being a baby," she guffawed. "I don't know what ever possessed you to swap minds with me, David. Did you really think it was going to be fun as a baby? Well, now you've got the rest of your life to find out how much fun being a baby really is, and I can tell you from experience it stinks. I cannot understand for the life of me why you risked throwing away your freedom as a 16-year-old to experience the restricted life of a baby. Did you really think it would be fun to be trapped in a playpen for hours upon end with nothing to do except play with baby toys? Did you really think it would be fun to wear nappies 24 hours a day? Did you really think it would be fun to talk like a baby so no one in the world can understand what you are trying to say?" She laughed my former deep laugh. "I bet you don't think it's fun now, do you, David? You are trapped in there forever. There is nothing you can do about it, only I know who you really are and I'm not ever going to tell. Get used to your frilly dresses, frilly knickers, and nappies, David. You're going to be in them forevermore," she laughed. Mother returned to take us back home. She smiled at me. I burst into further tears. A dummy was pushed into my mouth to quieten me down. She looked at Susie ruefully. "Well, at least you look happy," she sighed. Yes, mother, she replied, looking down at me. At the moment I'm the happiest 16-year-old boy in the world, he grinned. Why? Mother inquired as she pushed me along. I don't know, it just feels so good to be alive, having the freedom to do what you want, go where you want, be with who you want to be with and have your whole life before you, like a big adventure, she beamed. And what has brought these feelings on? Mother smiled as she took me out of my buggy and strapped me tightly in my baby seat in the back of the car. Well, I've been thinking a lot about Susie lately, the real Susie told her as Mother started the car. I mean, she is always trapped either in her playpen, in her cot, in her high chair, or strapped in her buggy. She has no freedom at all. Her clothes are chosen for her, we decide where and when she goes and who she plays with, and I just thought to myself how lucky I was not to be her, Susie smiled. We should all count our blessings on that score, Mother agreed, pulling the car into the highway. I'm afraid Susie has a life sentence as a baby, no one would want to be in her little baby shoes. Well, there is one good thing, Susie grinned at me. What's that, David? Mother asked. Well, at least Susie doesn't know any different, she has a baby mind, so she is probably happy in her own little baby world. We can count that as a blessing too. Mother overtook another car as we sped home. Could you imagine that, a normal thinking person trapped in a baby's body for the rest of their lives? No, Mother, I couldn't, Susie answered. Are you sure? Mother asked again, looking at Susie curiously. Susie furrowed her brow, she blushed, looking a little concerned. Well, yes, I suppose it would be awful if you really knew that you were trapped as a baby, but Susie has the mind of an infant, she blustered. I always used to think that too, that is why I insisted upon everyone treating Susie as a baby even though she is 16 years old. I did not want her mind to develop past infancy, I did not want her to know that she was anything but a baby. Mother sighed, pulling the car into our drive. Would you take Susie's buggy into the house please, David? Mother asked, opening the boot of the car. Sure, Mum, Susie smiled nervously. Mother was still looking at her curiously. Susie wheeled her old buggy into the house. Mother reached into the rear seat, unbuckled me from my baby seat, put her hands underneath my armpits and lifted me out. Come on, David, let's get that dirty nappy changed. A nice bubble bath will get you smelling all nice again, then we'll get you into a really pretty dress, she cooed. My mouth fell open, my dummy fell to the floor. She had just called me David. Gaa goo 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 ga goo. I gurgled, trying to ask her if she really knew it was me in Susie's body, or had she just made a mistake. Mother looked deep into my eyes, shaking her head, obviously trying to guess what I had just said in my baby words. Yes, David, I know it is you in there. I have known right from the start that it was you in Susie's body and Susie in yours, she said, matter-of-factly carrying me into the house. Run Susie a bath, will you, David? Put some scent in too. I want her smelling really nice, Mother called out, taking me into the nursery. Okay, Mum, my old voice replied. Mother placed me on the changing table. She pulled off my petticoats, leaving me in just my disposable nappy. I was still in a state of shock from her confession that she knew it was me in Susie's body. You are probably wondering why I didn't change you back into your former self, David, she said. I nodded. For all of Susie's life I have been treating her like a baby because she had the mind of a baby. She has now tasted a spell as a grown-up in your body and her mind has altered to suit it seems. Can you imagine how devastated she would have been if I had made her go back into her baby body, she asked. It may have killed her, David. I couldn't risk that. I felt my soiled nappy being peeled off. Yuck, Mother grimaced. Goo gaga goo goo gaga. What about me? I gurgled, tears forming in my eyes. So I was faced with a choice, David, Mother continued once she had cleaned my dirty bottom with a baby wipe. Did I return Susie back to being a baby and you to being a grown boy, or did I leave you as a baby and let Susie take your place? As it was you who used those rings, David, you obviously wanted to know what it was like to be a baby again, that and the way you have been acting since you turned yourself into a baby made me decided to leave you like this. I felt the strap that was holding me securely to the changing table being unfastened. Why a grown boy would want to know what it was like to be a baby, I don't know, but I can assure you, David, that I am going to find out. She picked me up, placing me on her hip. She bounced me a little, chuckling loudly, shaking head. Mother carried me through to the bathroom. Susie was just pouring some scented liquid into the water, which immediately formed itself into bubbles. Mother handed me to Susie. Give your baby sister a bath, then get her dressed, bring her downstairs when she is ready, Mother ordered. Then you and I will have a long talk, young lady, she added. Susie went white. Yes, I know who you really are, Mother informed her before turning away. Oh, and see if you can find out why he would want to be a baby girl, she called as she left me in the arms of my former body. My former eyes twinkled. I already know why you swapped places with me, don't I, David? She giggled, placing me into the warm suds. I watched you many times picking up my frilly baby panties, putting them against yourself in front of the mirror, pretending you were wearing them. She soaped my hair as she spoke. I watched you play with yourself as I sat in my playpen. No, your playpen, she corrected herself. Well, you will be wearing those frilly baby knickers every day for the rest of your life. But there will be no playing with yourself. You don't have a pee anymore, do you? She lifted me out of the bathwater after ensuring every crevasse smelt of sweet baby scent, wrapping me in a huge pink bath towel. No, you don't have a pee anymore, do you, David? But I do, she sang in a sing-song voice. She whispered in my ear as she carried me, and do you know what, David? I put it to good use last night. You cannot imagine how good it feels. She shook her head. Of course you cannot imagine, she laughed. I pouted as I was carried back into the nursery. Yes, David, while you were tucked up in your little cot, Leslie and I lost our virginity. You were sleeping soundly in your baby grow, safe behind bars, hugging onto your dolly, when in fact it should have been you in your own bed with Leslie, she taunted. I did think about you, David, while Leslie was all over me. I thought how humiliating it must be for you, a grown boy now trapped as a baby girl, knowing I was the only one who knew who was really inside that pretty baby body, you being unable to tell a soul of your plight. Tears stung the back of my eyes as she laid me on the changing table, a strap ensuring I was immobilized. At least I thought I was the only one. Mom knows too. I wonder how and when she found out, she asked rhetorically. And she chose to keep you as a baby girl too. You must regret the day you spotted those rings, David, ha ha ha. Susie held up a toweling nappy. I hated wearing these types of nappies. They are so bulky and they chafe your skin once they were wet. Disposables are much more comfy, she spoke as an authority on the subject. I think I should be able to convince Mom that toweling nappies are so much more beneficial for the environment. You know how she goes for that kind of thing. I shook my head, feeling my bottom lip trembling. Or doesn't the ickle wickle baby want to wear popper nappies then? My old voice mocked in baby talk. Well, baby is going to learn very quickly that SHE doesn't have any say in what SHE wears, ha 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 ha. She lifted me by the ankles, slipping the clean nappy under my upraised bottom. You're going to know what it is like to be wearing a wet and dirty nappy every day for the rest of your life, David. I am not going to put any baby powder on you. In no time at all you will develop a nice nappy rash. I am looking forward to seeing you squirm in your didees, she sneered. And once I tell Mom of your longing for wanting to wear frilly baby clothes and dirty nappies, I am sure she will have just as much fun as I will too, ha 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 ha. Wah, I burst into baby wails.